Jesus said, if another member of the church sins against you, go and point out the fault when the two of you are alone. If the member listens to you, you have regained that one. But if you are not listened to, take one or two others along with you, so that every word may be confirmed by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. If the member refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if the offender refuses to listen even to the church, let such a one be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. Truly, I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Again, truly I tell you, if 2 of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there among them. The Gospel of the Lord. If ever there were words of Jesus that were addressed to everybody, today's gospel contains them. Jesus is talking to his disciples, the future church, but his words include every living person who has ever taken a breath. You don't have to be a member of the church to understand what he's talking about. You don't even have to leave your house in the morning to discover the truth of these words. And the simple truth is that living together in community is difficult. Dr. Michael Linville of the Brick Presbyterian Church in New York City, which is closed this morning, by the way, along with all the other churches in New York City, wrote about this once in a short story in which he affirmed, life is hard. There are no perfect husbands, no perfect wives, no perfect partners, no perfect children, no perfect mother-in-laws. Life in family, life in any community is both our sorest test and our sweetest joy. The only thing harder than getting along with other people is getting along without them. So what to do? I'm going to back into this by introducing you to a theory from communication and family systems called triangulation. You have all been involved in this at one time or another in your lives. The wise avoid it. The foolish thrive on it. You can tell it's happening when you hear yourself complaining about one person to another. When you hear yourself gossiping. When you give in to the temptation to get on the phone and to complain to one friend about the way another friend treated you, you are triangulating. Or, worse yet, when you hear someone say something to you in the hopes that you will repeat it to the person who has offended them. It's called triangulation because it makes you the third party in a difficult conversation that really should be just between two. And this is a position to be avoided at all costs, because it is not a safe place to be. Jesus offers a far better way to handle our difficulties with another person. Now, I admit it would have been much easier if Jesus had said, go around and tell everybody what that stupid jerk did to you. But what Jesus says instead is, no, you go talk to that stupid jerk and tell them what they've done. That's hard, even for the most mature Christian. When the Chicago Bible Church started renting our facility, there were some territorial issues between them and the Good News Church. And Pastor Ahn, perhaps one of the finest Christian men I have ever met, came and talked to me about it. What he was asking for was triangulation. That I should tell the Chicago Bible Church about the problems that the Good News Church was having with them. Now, as you know by now, I never get myself involved in those kind of triangles. So, sitting in my office, I opened my Bible and read today's passages to him. How Christ would have this potential conflict handled. Now, frankly, because of the language barrier, I was never quite sure what the conflict was. But I could tell by the look on good Pastor Ahn's face that even though he believed every single word of the Bible to be true and was deeply committed to Jesus Christ, he still would have rather had me go and talk to the people from Chicago Bible. Instead, patted him on his back, took his hand, said I'd be praying for him, and sent him on his way. By the way, everything must have turned out all right, because I never heard another word. Either that, or they just learned to live with whatever the conflict was. That's another way people handle things. They ignore them. We take the attitude, says Dr. Thomas G. Long, of if somebody hassles you, forget them. It's their problem, not yours. But that just harbors bitterness, resentment, people not speaking to each other for days, months, or even years. Now, doesn't it seem to you that Jesus is ruining all the good options? He keeps insisting that there be a face-to-face meeting. But the meeting is to have as its number one spot on its agenda, not confrontation, but restoration. Believe me, because I have made this mistake. If you go in with your finger pointing and a 3-point verbal tongue lashing prepared, you are going to set off the first strike in what may be a verbal thermonuclear war. And that is worse than becoming involved in triangulation, strangulation, because it just might kill the friendship. Just strangle it to death.